Hello guys, welcome to another section of Learning with Prep class. I am Tutor Chima. How is it going guys? How have you been seeing our videos? I hope our videos have been very helpful or have been of great help in improving your knowledge on chemistry, especially in the calculation aspect. Now today I'm going to be engaging you guys with questions 16 to 20 in WAEC Chemistry 2018. Remember, in our previous videos we looked at questions 1 to 15, so today we are going to be looking at questions 16 to 20. Now guys, it is customary that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our videos, hit on the notification bell and activate it so that you'll be the first to be notified whenever we have an educational content like this on our channel. Now feel free to use our comment section box in asking questions, and also be kind enough to share our videos so that it's going to reach as much viewers as possible. Alright guys, without wasting your time, let us go straight to the business of today, which is to solve past questions on WAEC Chemistry 2018. And like I said, we are going to be looking at questions number 16 to 20. 16 says, when a salt is added to its saturated solution, when a salt is added to its saturated solution, the salt dissolves and the solution becomes supersaturated, dissolves and the solution becomes unsaturated, precipitates and the solution remains unchanged, dissolves and the crystal are formed. So what happens when a salt is added to a saturated solution? First of all, what is a saturated solution? A saturated solution is a solution which contains as much solute as it can dissolve at that temperature in the presence of undissolved solute particles. It contains so much solute as it can dissolve in the presence of undissolved solute particles. So any additional solute or salt you add to a saturated solution, that particular amount of salt you've added is going to precipitate out. Now in a saturated solution, the dissolved solute and the undissolved solutes are in equilibrium. The dissolved solute and the undissolved one are in equilibrium at that particular temperature. Therefore, any addition of solute would lead to the dissolution of the solute and the precipitation of the dissolved solute or the salt without a change in the concentration of the solution. So what happens when you add extra salt to a saturated solution is that salt you've added will dissolve, and that same amount of salt that you've added that has dissolved will also precipitate out. Are you following? The fresh salt you've added will dissolve. The one that are in solution will also precipitate out. So that amount that you've added will dissolve, and that same amount that is in solution will precipitate out. That's what happens when you add a salt to an already saturated solution. So the precipitation, so therefore any addition of solute would lead to the dissolution of the salt and the precipitation of the dissolved solute of the salt without a change in the concentration of the solution. So I said precipitates, that's the salt precipitates and the solution remains unchanged. So any salt you add, what happens? Extra salt in the solution precipitates and the solution remains unchanged. So the best answer is what? C. So the correct answer to that question is what? Option C. Option C. 17. When substance X was added to a solution of bromine water, the solution became colorless. X is likely to be. When substance X was added to a solution of bromine water, the solution became colorless. X is likely to be. Is it propane? Is it propanoic acid? Is it propyne? Is it propanol? So what substance is substance X? Now you must understand that using bromine water, when a hydrocarbon is added to bromine water and it decolorizes that bromine water, that kind of analysis you've just seen is what we call test for unsaturated hydrocarbons. Now unsaturated hydrocarbons like alkenes and alkynes decolorize bromine water from brown to colorless. Are you following? They decolorize bromine water from brown to colorless. So note that this is a test for unsaturation in hydrocarbons. So from the options given, we can see that from the options that propane is an alkane, propanoic acid is a carboxylic acid. Propine is an alkene. Propanol is an alkanol. So out of all of them, only propine is an alkyne. Propine is an alkyne, and propine has a triple bond. Unsaturated hydrocarbons usually have double or triple bonds. Propane, propanoic acid, and propanol all have single bonds. But this propine has triple bonds, so it's an unsaturated hydrocarbon. So only propine, that is an alkyne, which is an unsaturated hydrocarbon, will decolorize bromine water. Remember I said that this is a test for unsaturation in hydrocarbons. So from the options given, propine is an alkyne, therefore it is unsaturated. So propine is the answer, because propine will be the one that will decolorize bromine water to colorless. Why? Because it's an alkyne and it's an unsaturated hydrocarbon. C is the correct answer. 18. The preferential discharge of ions during electrolysis is influenced by. The preferential discharge of ions during electrolysis is influenced by. Is it influenced by mechanism of electrolysis? Is it influenced by electrolytic reaction? Is it influenced by nature of the electrode? Is it influenced by type of the electrolytic cell? Mechanism of. Now, these are the factors that affect the preferential discharge of ions. Factors that affect preferential discharge of ions include: 1. Relative position of the ions in the electrochemical series. 2. Concentration of the ions. 3. Nature of the electrodes. So you can see that out of all this I just gave you, only nature of the electrodes appears in the option. I didn't say anything like mechanism of electrolysis or electrolytic reaction. I didn't say anything like type of electrolytic cell, but I mentioned nature of electrodes. And nature of electrodes appears in the option. So the correct answer is C, nature of electrodes. So out of all of them, only nature of electrodes affects the preferential discharge of ions during electrolysis. 19. The valency electrons of Mg12 are in the valency electrons of Mg12 are in the, is it the 3s orbital? Is it the 2p orbital? Is it the 2s orbital? Is it the 1s orbital? Let's see. Now you can see that Mg12, if I should open it up, the first shell will contain 2 electrons, second shell will contain 8 electrons, last shell will contain 2 electrons. So these 2 electrons are in the last shell, and the 2 electrons in the last shell are called the valency electrons. Now using the SPDF, where would that be? You can see that these 2 will be in the 2s shell. These 8 will occupy these first 2 will be the 1s shell. That's why it's 1s2. These 8 electrons will occupy the 2s shell and 2p shells. Or you can say that these 2 electrons will occupy the 1s orbital. These 8 electrons will occupy the 2s orbital and 2p orbital, making 2s2, 2p6. And therefore this valence electron will stay in the 3s orbital. So we see that the valence electrons are in the 3s orbital. So the answer is 3s orbital. A, 3s orbital. 20. Stainless steel is an alloy comprising of. Stainless steel is an alloy comprising of. Is it iron and carbon? Is it iron and nickel? Is it iron, carbon and nickel? Is it iron, carbon and aluminium? Now one thing you must know about stainless steel is that besides or apart from iron and carbon, stainless steel always contains chromium. Chromium is very, very important in stainless steel. Chromium. So it contains iron, carbon, chromium. That's why I differentiated it with the red pen, chromium. I typed it on red. So it must contain iron, carbon, chromium, and any other element, maybe like nickel, manganese, silicon, and molybdenum. So since in this option we don't have chromium, I won't go with any of them. If they have said iron, carbon, and chromium, I would have gone for option C. But because chromium is much more important in stainless steel than even nickel. But since I didn't mention chromium, I said no correct option. Stainless steel contains iron, carbon, chromium. Very important. There may be nickel and other alloying substances. So there is no correct answer, and the correct answer should be iron, carbon, chromium, nickel, and maybe other alloying substances like manganese, molybdenum, and so on and so forth. Alright guys, we've come to the end of this section of Level Prep class, where we looked at past questions on chemistry, WAEC 2018. We solved questions 16 to 20. Now here, you have been provided with a link. It is now your job to type this link on your browser, this bit.ly. Type this link on your browser. Once you type this link on your browser and load it, it's going to take you straight to our WhatsApp group. When you join us on WhatsApp, you'll be getting updates, you'll be getting infos on the latest content we have on our channel. See you in the next video. Please do not miss the next video. You can see that after watching this video, you will see something up, an icon or so. You can just click it and it just take you straight to the next video. So join our next video so that you have much educational content, and your prowess in chemistry will continue to improve. I wish you the best. Bye.